If you've ever wondered what happened to the popular kids in your high school, well, researchers actually looked into that question to decide whether or not they actually become successful after grade school is over. Now, this is regarding a 10-year study that was recently published in the journal Child Development. And what the researchers found after following people around from the ages of 13 to 23 is that it turns out that their life outside of grade school is the antithesis of what they experienced when they were in high school. So let me give you the examples. Now, they specifically looked at something that they refer to as adolescent pseudo-mature behavior. That basically means that you are so obsessed with looking mature to appear cool that you will indulge in risky behaviors like drinking or smoking, right? So when you're in grade school, you're cool when you do that, but what happens when you graduate? It's a little different.
Hi, welcome back to another Untold series where I explore different types of mysteries. And the mystery today we're going to be exploring is what happens to popular kids after high school. So, in this video, I've divided this into three parts. First of all, how many of you guys were popular in high school, and how many of you guys were not? So the three parts we're going to be looking at, we're going to be kind of like an investigator here. So we're going to be looking at who are the popular kids in high school. We're going to define who are the popular kids, what they were like, what was life like for them, things like that. Those are things I can say that would define them. And then we're going to also look at popular kids versus unpopular kids. So here we're going to look at the differences between the two people, and we're also going to define the unpopular kids on what they were like and what was life like for them. The result is going to surprise you in this video. I know most of you guys are going to expect something different. And finally, the last part is what happens afterwards. We're going to look at what happens, well, after this life ends, after the high school life ends. What happens to them? So we're going to start with the first one, and the first one will be, who are these popular kids? We need to know who they are. So the popular kids are typically the ones who would be cooler than the rest, have more friends, do things that are considered kind of like illegal, like the bad boys and the bad girls. So they would typically be categorized into two ways. So there were the popular good ones. The popular good ones were the ones who treat everyone nicely, and then there were the unpopular. Popular bad ones. So the popular bad ones would basically treat the rest in a mean way. So the popular kids would basically sit at the back of the class, and they would always have something that's not considered right in the school rules. Let's say they would have a phone, they would have like home clothes. Okay, I'm talking from my experience from like high school. So yeah, they would always have something that's not considered, that's a contraband really. And what keeps them popular is the types of friends they have. Either they were attractive or they were good at sports. Those are the types of things that would like skyrocket their popularity. Now, who would mostly determine who is popular is basically the average people. So the average people were always the ones who follow the unpopular ones. I'll explain more about these people as the average people, as we continue this. So the popular kids would basically be behind, while the unpopular kids would basically sit in front of the class. So they would not have any type of clique. They had no affiliation. They would just sit there, quite like myself. I was always like very quiet, often misunderstood, because I would mostly talk about aviation, computers, and technology. So that would consider me very unpopular. So popular versus unpopular kids there's a simple way of explaining this. The unpopular kids would basically be the ones, either you're an A student or you have a niche that is not considered cool by the rest. So like for example, as for me, my niche was always computers and aviation, and that's not going to make you look very very cool because you sound like a nerd, especially when I was talking about how to code, or how this jet engine works, or how this 1.5 liter Cessna engine was. Yeah, you get the whole point. That would not make you popular. And the popular kids would, what I realized, that the popular kids are more likely to like get girls or to get boys, depending on who was the popular one. And the popular guys knew each other, so they would always hang out in like a clique of 5. While the popular guys, well, us, we were basically left to just, you know, stay on our own. No affiliation or no clique. There was also the other section called the wannabes. Now, those guys would be given attention by the popular kids, not enough to be allowed into the popular gang, but enough to want to crave more. And I think these are the guys who would bully others because they would always feel bad of they were left out. And the average guys, they were just there, you know. They didn't have any affiliation to anyone. They would just have a small clique of themselves. And yeah, that's how I would define how popular versus unpopular is. I'll put a small chart so that it can make you understand this better. So, move on to the other section. What in the world is adolescent pseudo-mature behavior? So this is a type of behavior that I realized that the most of the popular kids had. They would basically do something that's considered mature for kids, like basically like doing drugs, having sex, things like that, having girlfriends, things that, you know, a typical high schooler would not be doing. So most of them, like let's say for example, the ones who had girlfriends, I was unfortunate to have one. They would basically have their girlfriends in a corner, and then they would have like one of the popular kids, or let's say the average ones, would watch out for them. We used to call it 5-0ing. So they would watch out to make sure that there's no teacher, and as soon as the teacher comes in, they would like act like nothing happened. So this guy who would watch out for them would always alert them so that they act like it's normal. So the teachers would never, sometimes they would be caught, but most of the time it was always never caught. And you know, it was always a thing that would never catch up with them. Some it would catch up with them, some it wouldn't. It depends on how safe they played it. Others now would even go to the extent of doing drugs. So they would basically be, let's say, in very dark hours, they would go up. They would go, let's say in our dorm we used to have upstairs, so they would go up and do it. Hope I haven't exposed anyone. Or some would like hide in corners and yeah, do their drugs. So this thing was considered cool. For some reason, I don't know why it was considered. That's why I guess I wasn't popular, because I never understood why they were considered, as I never really did them. So it was a very, I used to feel sorry for them at times, because I'm like, why are you destroying your body just to be in a clique that will not care for you after all this ends? So I used to feel sorry for them to some extent, but then in a way I would be like, so you treat me badly anyways, why should I feel sorry for you? So it was kind of like a conflicting way. So let's move on to the next section, which is what happens after high school. So I looked at various ways. I followed through people, and I looked at articles, and from what it looks like, most of them really don't end up like, most of the popular guys do not end up, you know, their popularity ends in high school. They don't like actually extend it. And then, you know, most of them didn't focus on a specific niche. Like you see, like let's say for me, I focused on computers, so coding really helped me make my games, which helped me, you know, become somewhat successful in life. As for the popular kids, they just bank on that popularity, thinking it's going to like help them out in life, but most of the time it doesn't, and they end up with these adolescent mature behaviors that they cannot solve later in life. Like for example, once you're addicted to drugs, that's it. It's not for every case, but from what I realized, it is. And once I finished high school, I realized how difficult their life was in high school. I used to think that they had an easy life, but to keep that insane amount of pressure, it's an insane amount of pressure to keep. You have to keep elevating yourself. Okay, how do I make my popularity grow more and more and more? I never used to think of that. That's something I learned afterwards. Now, after high school, I looked at so many stories, so many, some of them, it's like their popularity died. They don't look like what they used to be. They're not very cool. They're not, not the it guys anymore. And what happened is the nerds, because of focusing on one specific niche, for example, whether it's computers, whether it's good at singing, it's good at this and this, they would always perfect that talent and grow. Some of the popular kids in high school, they always felt that they are very entitled. So once they come out, they realize, oh shucks, I have to work for everything that I want to get, because everything was handed to them in school. They were the it guys, and there's nothing that they could have been told. So I looked at both of these ways. It's not always fully accurate that they will not automatically succeed in life. The ones that capitalize on that and make something out of it would be successful, but most of them, in most cases, don't really do that. In fact, I've had I look at some of the guys that were popular in high school in my time, and I wonder, what exactly did I used to see that made me want to be popular? They don't seem like they are the ones who rule the world. I thought that they would. I remember there was a friend of mine. I'll just call him out. It was called Gisheru. He told me, stop worrying about these popular kids. In 5 years, this will not matter. Now, I didn't. Then he told me one day that we are the ones who will matter. And I'm like, surely not. You're lying to me. Now I look back and I'm like, you know what? Maybe he might have been on to something there. But yeah, shout out to him. So, what did I learn from all this? Well, I learned that it does not matter whether you're popular or unpopular in high school. What truly matters is what you do with what you are learning in high school. Like, if you choose to make something out of, let's say, your talent, you'll go places. If you choose to sit there and be like, let me be a bad boy, let me do this and this, let me, you should never be a follower. Always want to be the one who starts the trend. Always want to be the one who dictates the pace. If you just become a follower of the popular kids, then you'll always be a follower for the rest of your life. So basically, what I learned from making this video is that it was not always about how popular you are or how unpopular you are, and at the end of the day, it was mostly about how you treat others and how you make your life into something. So, to answer the question, what exactly happens to popular kids after high school? Well, the answer is, it depends. If you are popular and you had something going on for you, let's say a sports talent, and you capitalized on it and you honed it, then you would go places. But from what I have seen from the data, most of them didn't capitalize it, became too entitled and relaxed a bit, and they most likely didn't go find life. As for the nerds, if they also did capitalize, they also didn't go find life. It's a two-way street. But from my interaction with everyone that I would consider popular, they seem to have done something for themselves, whether it is creating or solving a particular issue on this earth. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed my video, and catch you on the next one. Take care.